Hey everyone, it's Bobby from Lyco Birds with another video in my Bird ID Through the Year series, and this one is going to be an introduction to raptors. I know that's a very popular topic on our channel that my brother David has covered extensively, but this will be my take on raptor identification. And I think the thing I want to convey in this first video is just giving a sense for the overall shapes that different types of raptors have. So I don't really want to focus too much on specific species at this point, but more the broad groups of the raptors that really helps you to narrow down what you're looking at. So first up will be the Buteos, and this is what I think of as sort of your generic raptor shape. Now, Buteo refers to the genus that all of these species belong to, and they have that classic shape that you think of for hawks, with broad wings and sort of medium-length tails. Most of them have blunt or rounded wingtips, and they are really built to soar. And the representative I've chosen for the Buteos is the red-tailed hawk. And let's contrast that with what we have typically called accipiters. Now, I will make a brief taxonomic note here in that formerly we had 3 species in North America in the Accipiter genus, but that has recently undergone some revisions, and now we still have one, the sharp-shinned hawk, that remains in Accipiter, but then Cooper's hawk and American goshawk now are in the Astur genus. So you sort of have to go up a level if you want to refer to them collectively. So you could say that they're accipitrans, except for the problem that harriers are also in that. So if you want to just refer to what we used to call accipiters, you would want to say accipitran hawks. So that's just a fairly recent development, but I'm sure many people are just going to continue calling them accipiters. And these species are characterized by their shorter wings and their relatively long tails compared to the Buteos. And you can think of that almost like a flying cross shape. And they tend to flap a lot more. These are really built for navigating wooded habitats, so they're a lot more maneuverable than the typical Buteo is going to be. And the representative I chose for this group will be the Cooper's hawk. And then we have eagles, which I think most people have a pretty good handle on. They're extremely large. They have mostly dark plumage compared to most of the hawks that we have that are fairly light. And eagles are very steady in flight. They soar extremely well. They are not going to be affected by wind too much. Just very powerful birds. And the representative I chose for the eagles is bald eagle. And the last major group of raptors I'm covering is falcons, which have very pointed wings, and they frequently flap for bursts of speed, and really they're just built to dominate wide open spaces. And the representative I chose for the falcons is peregrine falcon. And now that we introduced all of them, let's take a look side by side so we can compare the shape. So I think the first thing to look at is the wingtips, and notice on most of these you can see the wingtips are quite rounded, which contrasts pretty strongly with the peregrine falcon here that has a very pointed wingtip. And the very pointed wings and the frequent flapping is usually what's going to set these apart from the other raptors we have. And if we compare Cooper's hawk to red-tailed hawk, just notice how long the body and tail is on the Cooper's hawk compared to the surface area of the wing. If you look at that in red-tailed hawk, it's a lot shorter compared to the amount of wing that you have. And really, that comes down to the difference in behaviors, where red-tailed hawks are built to fly around more and soar and effortlessly fly around, whereas Cooper's hawks are more built to navigate through tighter spaces and navigate around trees and stuff like that. So they need to be able to change direction quicker. And eagles, of course, have very long wings, just an overall very powerful looking build, and they're darker underneath in general. There are also differences in shape when they are perched. So for example, this peregrine falcon and the other falcons often look like they have pretty wide shoulders, but then it kind of comes down to this point at the tail. So you end up with this like V shape that's very top heavy. And if you compare that to the Cooper's hawk, you can see these look very, very tall, and they don't look very wide relative to how tall they are. As opposed to, you can see on the red tail, it's a pretty wide body overall, and the height does not seem disproportionate to how wide it is. And they look a little bit bulky, but also it's kind of balanced. As opposed to the eagle looks very, very bulky. You can see that bald eagles also have these massive bills that really help set them apart from the other raptors. And really, a bald eagle silhouette is very distinctive. So I will wrap up there for this introduction video. And don't worry, there will be plenty more raptor videos where we go in depth into all of the different species and how to identify all of them. There's also some species that don't even fit into the groups that I covered so far, so we will definitely add those as well. If you are impatient, we have literally probably a couple hundred hours of raptor identification content already on the channel. So if you just go back through our past videos, you can find endless amounts of those to entertain you while you're waiting for my future videos. And as always, I hope you found this useful, and I hope you will join me on my next video.